A thread by Carlos Osuita. Dear White House Correspondents Association, watch your blockhead, cargo cult, Stone Age, flat tire, flopperoos, not understand Kayleigh McEnany or the job of Donald Trump or the pandemic. Link in the description. You people need brain transplants. The president isn't briefed on unsubstantiated reports. He's like sort of busy, you know? Let's say that the ODNA, Office of the Directorate of National Intelligence, Google that so you'll know what I'm talking about, briefs Trump every time the New York Times makes a big poo poo on the carpet. Briefing Trump on a New York Times article is like briefing Trump on crazy treadmill Japanese game on YouTube. Link in the description. It makes more sense to brief Trump on Japanese game shows than on New York Times carpet poo poo. This is critical mass. It's only happened a million times. Rabid ideologues always put fellow rabid ideologues in positions of influence. As a result, the quality of everything collapses. There's no such thing as a competent rabid ideologue. The White House press corps thinks that the body politic make all the demented connections that rabid ideologues make. I heard 176-year-old Nancy Pelosi stuttering out something about Russia, 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 but it didn't occur to me or any sane American that the new hotness is that Trump approved of the Russians paying the Taliban to kill Americans. If rabid ideologues had any factual knowledge, you'd be aware that Trump inflicted the greatest military defeat on Russia in the history of both of our countries. But of course, the cargo cult press doesn't know that. Here's a thread for you. Link in the description, and I've done a video on that one too. You'll read the whole thing. You'll be smarter at the end. Here's what the very few survivors said. The Yankees knew for sure that the Russians were coming, that it was us. The Yankees made their point. From BusinessInsider.com, they beat our asses. Russian mercenaries talk about a humiliating defeat at the hands of the Americans. News to you, right? Why me not know this? Me know only da poo poo. How come none tell this? Where are me? They are what? Shoe? La. Help thou head hurt. And then, the president is spreading COVID-19 across the nation. Him is the Johnny Appleseed of the plague. What about all those unmasked young poo-poos driving all over the country, clustering, destroying, and then going home? What is their culpability? Their Culpepper, kebab, Mulholland, well, it's shut up. That's what it is. The analog to the American press is every untrained general appointed to the armed forces of every totalitarian regime. They have no training, so they lose. Saint Qasem Soleimani had no real military training. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Quds Force are terrorists. Guess what happens when they go up against trained soldiers? Here's what happens. Two Syrian rebels destroyed an entire, by the way, we're putting rebels in quotation marks here. Two Syrian rebels destroyed an entire column of tanks and infantry fighting vehicles that attacked the Syrian Aeronautic Technical College. These two guys, Lebanese Hezbollah and the Iranians, attacked the college 10 times and were beaten off. So they went in full force. Two rebels put caches of anti-tank guided missiles and unknown rockets all over the college. They set up heavy machine gun positions that created interlocking fields of fire. When the attack began, the two men simply ran from cache to cache, from gun position to gun position. They were astonishingly fit men who wore no body armor. The infantry fighting vehicle is called the BMP. It has two doors in the back to allow infantry to dismount. The Iranians were not trained in how to use the vehicles. They turned around and unloaded the men right into heavy gunfire. The dismounted troops died instantly. Finally, the Iranians backed the BMPs. Let's see where he goes with this. Finally, the Iranians backed the BMPs up against this building and unloaded the troops right into it. The two rebels began firing rockets with fuel air explosive warheads. Are you kidding me? Sorry, guys. With fuel air explosive warheads, there we go, into the building, killing everyone inside. The armored vehicles crowded into the area and they were knocked out. Armored recovery vehicles were knocked out. Unseen fighters used mortars to herd surviving Hezbollah and Iranians back into the building. Then a giant fuel air explosive was dropped, penetrating the roof and finishing off the last of the foot soldiers. You can see the hole. The back smear is, well, you don't want to know. It was a bloodbath. Qasem Soleimani ruled Iran and Iraq with terror. Yet his men were no match for two trained soldiers with advanced weaponry. One tank survived. The lone surviving BMP ran all over the wounded in its panicked retreat. I won't post the imagery, but a drone slowly flew down a long trail of flattened Hezbollah and Iranians. And the American press knows nothing about any of this. Trump knows all about it. So, the moral of the story is that the New York Times carpet poo-poo is meaningless. It's a distraction for the cargo cult press. Let's see Jim Acosta do some land driving. My God, I'd pay anything to see that. The final irony is that the residents are far more advanced than the White House press corps. They're astonishing engineers. The tower is woven together. Each piece is held in place by tension only. The divers use vines that stretch, absorbing the shock. They calculate the length of a fully stretched out vine in their heads. The diving platform collapses at the precise moment the vines stretch to their full length, another method of absorbing shock. And the landing pit is earth that was dug out and churched up to a depth of 2 feet, making it as soft as cotton. Not one American journalist reading this was aware of anything I just wrote. Just give up, cargo cult media. You're out of your league. It's the world against Trump, a totally unfair fight. Trump landslide 2020.